Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to another episode of People's Questions, where I answer all the questions, or most of them, that have been sent to me over the past week. This time we got a little bit more questions this time around. They're a little bit more simpler, but they shouldn't be too difficult to get through. So, yeah. Let's jump right into them. So the first question comes from Sidious, and you want to know, what do I think are the Jedi Order's most ultimate flaws that led to their destruction? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, because, like, if you are aware that the Jedi have been purged several times. I mean, Order 66 was as bad as it was. That was not like the worst Jedi purge that's ever happened. They've had several over the millenniums. I mean, I would even say the one that happened during the Old Republic was significantly worse, because the Jedi didn't know who was wiping them out. And then if you look at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Order, that one was purged eventually, whether you're talking about in the official canon with those really shitty fucking films, or if you're talking about in Legends continuity, that Jedi Order was nearly wiped out. But if I could say any one reason that connects all those purges or all those, wipe out, so that I can think of, is maybe just the Jedi's inability to adapt to a new tactic or a new approach to the Sith, because the Sith are in a constant state of evolution, while the Jedi have been kind of stagnant. Next question comes from Ren Gursky, and I believe this is the only new viewer that sent in a question. And if you want to know, if I had the chance to be inserted into the world of a Final Fantasy game, which would I be and why? Probably probably Final Fantasy X. I think Spira would be a really, really nice place to travel around and visit. A number of locations I'd like to go see. As long as I stayed away from populated areas on the coast, I think I could avoid sin. So, like, I would visit the Braska Islands, or I would visit Luca, but I probably wouldn't stay there for very long, because sin tends to pop up in populated areas on the coast, because he is mainly he's a sea-bound beast, or technically he's an Aeon. Well, technically he's the outer shell of the final summoning of the last summoner that beat him. Though he can fly eventually, which makes that even worse. So yeah, definitely Final Fantasy X. Next question comes from Brady Burke. You want to know, what lightsaber style would I prefer? I would pick 2, 3, and 6. I'd pick 2 because it's good for precision. I would pick 3 because it's defensive. And I would pick 6 because its moderation allows me to at least have my foot in every single form that I'm not focusing on. So it gives me much more options, and it makes me much more adaptable. I mean, as much as I appreciate Dooku's mentality of sticking to one form and mastering it to its highest level, I think that being as flexible as possible is a good approach, because even if you elevate your game to the highest possible level, that makes you much more vulnerable to its number one weakness. If your form has a distinctive weakness, and you put all your baskets in one, all your eggs in one basket, then if someone just focuses on that one weakness, then you're doomed. Next question comes from Will Williams. You want to know, which would I prefer, cats or dogs? I've lived with both, but I prefer dogs. I just think that dogs are a little bit more active, they need a little bit more attention, while cats are definitely much more independent, and they don't really need you as much, and they can survive on their own. But I think having that sense of this dog kind of needs me, I think it just adds to the level of responsibility that you need. And it's a good feeling when something lets you know that it needs you around, and that it's willing to be your longtime companion. I mean, heck, I would even say that relationships, like a good relationship between, say, a man and his dog, can be much stronger than any relationship he has with any woman, or at least that's been the case in my life. But yeah, definitely, I could work with both, but I'm definitely much more dogs. And the last question comes from Roy Mustang, and you want to know, why do I have 5 copies of Metal Gear Solid 3? Well, I actually looked it up. Turns out I actually have 6 copies. Why do I have 5? Well, I actually have all 5 copies over there, but I'm too lazy to get up and go grab them. So here's how it starts. I originally had an original copy of Metal Gear Solid 3, so that's one. But I wanted to get a copy of Subsistence, and I ordered a copy from GameStop, and they sent me a copy of Subsistence. The problem is it didn't have the second disc. So that at that time I had 2. So then I went out and I actually found a copy of Subsistence that had both discs, so that put it at 3. And then they released the trilogy edition for the PlayStation 2, so I bought that because I wanted to get a copy of Metal Gear Solid 1, which I didn't have. So that led me up to 4, and then they released that edition, but for PlayStation 3, so that put it at 5. And then when they released the HD collection, that came with 3 again, and that was 6. So that's why I currently have 6 copies of Metal Gear Solid 3. And I'm probably going to end up getting 7, because right now I'm looking to get a copy of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence Limited Edition, because I really like that red cover. So as it stands right now, I have 6, but probably within the next couple of months, I'll probably have 7 copies. So that is every question. That is the majority of the questions I was able to answer for this particular episode. I'd like to thank everyone that sent in your questions, whether I answered them here in the video or answered them in the comment section of the last video. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But make sure you get them into me roughly around noon on Wednesday before I start filming the next episode. And if they're much more in-depth, then that kind of increases the odds that it will be answered in the video rather than just the comment section. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.